Manamela, Kunene, the US South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act of 2025. These are things that we are going to touch on this event. And by elections, by the way. All right. Brutus, and welcome you to Alex FM Talk. Good evening.
Good evening, Malibeko, and good evening to the listeners of Alex FM. As always, it's good to be here.
All right, let's start here. The Exing of Minister Nkabani and the appointment of new Minister of Higher Education, Manamela. Your thoughts there?
First of all, it was long overdue, the Exing of the former Minister of Higher Education, Nkabani, after performances in Parliament, undermining Parliament and lying to Parliament. Now, the President acted very late. I don't know why it took so long, but we have long been waiting for her to be removed from that position. She did not act like a person who deserves. She acted like someone who was entitled to the position. Ministers are supposed to be servants of the people. Yeah. Not that they are doing a favor to the public or a favor to Parliament. They are accountable to Parliament. So the executive accounts to the legislature, which is Parliament. And what she did was undermining of the authority and the responsibility of Parliament, and she deserved to be axed. Now, Manamela, I hear people are excited about Manamela. Congratulations to him. He's been waiting for that position for so many years. It's a great achievement for him as a person, as an individual. Okay. But I don't think that we need to be excited about his appointment. Why not? First of all, let's start here. Higher education is a cornerstone of economic growth for any nation. This is where the skills are produced that feeds into the economy, that propels the engine of growth. Okay. So higher education is, as one author once wrote, that higher education is what coal mines were to the industrial economy. We are living now in an information and knowledge economy. So higher education institutions are very critical. So if you look at developed countries, how they take their higher education seriously, we are not there. So this is not a portfolio to give to a clown or somebody who does not know what to do. That's the first thing. Second thing is this. Manamela is not new to the portfolio. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I dismiss people who are excited about it. There will be continuity of what has been happening. So this is not a new broom that will sweep clean. This is an old broom. This is an old rag that will still leave, the remains of ANC people into the sectors, education and training authorities, and so on. So all the appointments that people are complaining about in the sector education and training authorities, they were done in Buti's presence. In fact, one of the people in that list of the boards is the former Director General of Higher Education, Konde, who was a member of the SACP. It's a buddy of Manamela from the SACP. So we can't expect that Manamela will arrive there and then now start changing things. It will be a continuation of what was happening all along. The other person is Nomusa Dube, who is now appointed as the Deputy Minister of Higher Education. What is that? This person was earmarked for two positions. One, IDC. Two, a sector education and training authority. I think it is the banking SETA as the chairperson. So she is going into a portfolio where she's going to preside over the SETA again. So that tells you that the ANC has been playing a game of deploying its cadres into the sector education training authority. When these changes were inevitable, they still take her and put her in the Ministry of Higher Education to preside over the SETA. What is it that they're chasing in the SETA? The SETAs are the cash cows that have been milked at the expense of the youth of South Africa. That is what is happening.
Don't you think that they're going to take a back seat now following what happened with Nkabane?
What back seat? I'm saying that this is a continuation of what was there. It's a continuation of the old order. So don't expect that there will be any change. Let me tell you something. Go and look at the ministers of higher of education in the so-called tiger, you know, the Asian tigers. You go to South Korea, the minister of education is a PhD in economics and has experience of serious reform in that economy. We are watching television, Samsung, we're driving Hyundai, we're driving their cars because they have taken their higher education seriously. Go and look at the Minister of Higher Education, in China. Is a PhD in computer science. Now you wonder why their institutions are producing Huawei, we are driving Haval, and so forth. Here in South Africa, we are consumers of their products because they take their higher education seriously. Go and look at a country like, say, I spoke about China, I spoke about South Korea. You can look at Singapore, same case. So those people have taken their higher education seriously. They understand the position of higher education in development. So we are taking chances. So there is a country, I can't remember, the Minister of Education is a PhD in pedagogy. So when they talk about curriculum reform, this is the guy. So Manamela has a master's degree in public administration. Yes, he may be a good administrator, but NSFAS has been a cash cow. There's been maladministration in NSFAS with booty there in higher education. So what is new that is coming from the Ministry of Education with booty's appointment? Nothing. The ANC has missed an opportunity to appoint people who have experience. And they are professors who have reformed our institutions into something else. There is a university called University of Johannesburg, which was RAW. There is a person who was a vice chancellor of that university, Van Rensburg, Iron. He transformed that institution. He left it as a center of excellence before he bequeathed it to Chirizima Rwar. And there was continuation, and that institution, its productivity went up. Why not appoint that person to lead higher education transformation? There is Salim Badad, who was a professor at Rhodes University, an advocate of transformation. He understands even student politics, the reforms. These are key people who were shaping the size and shape of higher education back in the days. And they are still there. Some of these people are associated with the ANC. Why can't the ANC take those people? Why give us a Manamela? What is it that he's going to do? Which institution has he run? Nothing.
All right.
He has no experience whatsoever.
Yeah, no, you are truly being brutally honest.
Let's be brutally honest.
Kunene, who was found in Katiso Mulefe's home, a man accused of paying for the killing of DJ Sambodi, and Riboni Gayton Mackenzie coming up, suspending him, and so forth. What is your thought with this whole saga, Yaga King?
Once again, I'm not surprised that Kenny could be found there. First of all, a leopard does not change its spots. So Kenny is known, he has got a history and a track record. He went to jail. He was he's an ex-convict. Okay. So the stories that Kenny is telling the public do not make sense. One is this thing that I was accompanying a journalist. So if you are a journalist, Malibeko, you know, as a journalist, your first instinct when there is a story unfolding before your eyes is to capture that story and go for it. So who is this journalist who was there and police are arresting a person and I have no interest in capturing this thing? Why didn't this journalist become the person who breaks the news to the public that, hey, I was here at the right time, at the right place at the right time, and this is what is happening? We have social media. We should have gotten that story from this person. This journalist is non-existent. So Kenny is taking us for fools. So that's why I'm saying, really, a leopard does not change its spots. So Kenny is MMC for transport,
yes.
Right? And this guy who is arrested he was out on bail, I think, and now they caught him. They took him again. But this guy is said to have been a businessman. So the city of Johannesburg, JRA, has a budget that exceeds more than 2 billion rand. I think it's 2.8 billion over 3 years. It has 992 million rand for this year. It has the Ria Vaya buses. It also has the metro bus and many other things that falls under the portfolio. It will be very interesting. I'm sure the police should be on Kenny's case. And I'm not surprised that he was called in, he was seen, a picture was taken of him coming by the Hawks in Benoni. So I would not be surprised if the police are connecting the dots. In the city of Johannesburg, it will be interesting to check. The police must check if this guy does not have any contracts and dealings with the city of Johannesburg, and not the very same department that Kenny is responsible for. The other thing is that Kenny, I don't know if he still owns. Kenny used to own a club, a nightclub. So now everybody knows that drug dealings, drug peddling happens in that space of nightclubs. Now, we are told about this arrest that there is drugs involved in this thing. So I'm sure the police will try to see if there are no dots that connect DJ somebody's murder, drug dealings, and these people and Kenny's nightclubs. It will be very interesting, which is why I think that Gate 10 should have waited. I think Gate 10 should have waited, give it 3 days or so for the police to do their work before suspending, because he will end up having to take a much more drastic step.
But he said he trusts him. He's just doing this to follow procedure. He knows that Kenny it's not wrong. He knows that Kenny is innocent.
Yeah, first of all, by the way, we must give it to them, is that any political party has the liberty to decide the process that they want to engage in to clear or to subject somebody through an investigative process. And Gate 10 saw it deemed fit for him to use that process. But it must not prevent the police from conducting their investigations. Gate 10 may have acted with whatever. I'm just saying that if he had waited for 3 days, all these things and the pictures that are now coming up in the social media, he would have firstly had to absorb this and then make a right decision. It's good, it's a good signal and a good PR what he did, to say, I don't wait, I can suspend even if it is my friend. But what if indeed there is something that Kenny has to answer for? We don't know. The police must investigate. I'm just saying that the history of Kenny would make him a serious suspect.
Sure. Now, let's move on and start with that PA when we talk about by-elections. I've seen them doing very well in the Western Cape, taking over a ward and, putting DA on second place and also being on second place on another ward. They did very well. Let's talk by-elections.
Yeah, there are two parties that we need to talk about. Is the PA's performance, which is very impressive, that they are able to win wards and wrestle wards out of the DA. Then there is another party that has ambition to contest election, is the SACP, which has performed dismally in Seshego. 1%, and I don't know how many people those are. It's probably 3 people. It's probably the candidate and the party liaison officer and the one support. I think the SACP is learning the hard way.
Yes.
Reality is kicking in, and they must realize that it's not a child's play. It's not a walk in the park to contest elections. You need a lot of money and a lot of thinking and strategy. Now, with the performance of the PA, they've been doing very well, especially when they contest in predominantly DA areas. And big ups to them. This is a good signal. They must just hope that all these shenanigans that are happening now do not affect the morale of their support base. Because people voted. When they voted, they did not know that Kenny would be found in the house of a criminal. And they might change their mind come the next local government elections and vote somebody else. So the PA has a serious challenge ahead of themselves. They are winning favor from the electorate, but they need to, to be careful about their brand. Yeah.
All right.
Really. Yeah.
Let's move on to the US-South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act of 2025, passing the first stage. Your thoughts about that?
Malibeko, I said here when we were talking about the preparations for the meeting, the appointment of the envoy, and we were saying, I was consistent in saying that the US has taken a posture that is very aggressive towards South Africa. And there are people in that house who are pushing for legislation now to impose sanctions, which is something that I mentioned, that the posture that the US is taking, the aggression that the US is exuding towards South Africa, it's a serious concern. And let me tell you, based on experience, it starts like this. There will be fallout of diplomatic relations, a recall of, your ambassador is expelled, persona non grata. The next thing is sanctions. The next stage is invasion. So, lo behold, that we do not have a collapse of this government. And I said previously that I think the US is watching what's happening in South Africa. Should this GNU arrangement not work out and collapse and say what John Steenhuisen has been saying, a coalition, a doomsday coalition comes in, I think the US will be even more aggressive. We have seen how gullible they are in believing the propaganda of AfriForum that there's white genocide here. They will find an excuse to act against South Africa. And what is our sin? Our sin is the foreign policy that we've taken. Our stance on Israel is a problem. And I think what South Africa needs to do is to explore bilateral relations with other alternative countries so that we can have better trade, we can have better support with other countries. I don't think that we need to to grovel before the US and apologize for the stance that we've taken. But I think we need to stand firm and exploit the relations that we have with the BRICS and see how far that can go.
Isn't that a problem as well? I mean, the relationship that we have with Russia and China.
Yeah, but if you are in a relationship, a good relationship with China and Russia, you can be protected from the US in terms of military aggression. But you might not be protected in terms of trade. So you need to exploit the trade relations that you have so that you increase your exports and grow the economy with those countries. But if you have that support of the BRICS countries, especially China and Russia, I think the US will think twice before it can take a drastic step of military action against South Africa when we have those two supporting us.
So, is the sanction going to be against South Africa or against leaders of the African National Congress or leaders of government?
I think it's going to be the two. It will be members of the ANC, senior and influential people in the ANC, especially those who are seen to be corrupt, and government people, and not so much government people really. I think leaders of political parties that are probably going to be seen to be more on the rhetoric against the US. So I would expect that if they impose sanctions on leaders of the ANC, they will not leave Julius, they will not leave Jacob Zuma. I think those would be the possible candidates for those sanctions.
All right. It is a minute before the hour 8 o'clock. Brutus, thank you so much for being with us this evening. With a lot of things that are happening politically. You are brutally honest at all times, and we are looking forward to this slot every evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Malibeko, and thank you to the listeners. See you next week.